the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
Hello, and welcome once again to another fabulous Tuesday. Thank you, everyone who made the time to come out today and share with us as we, again, do what we do best, which is help you leverage your score. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. Again, thank you so much for making that time. Attempting to find the time is not going to work. And if you have somehow managed to find time, you are going to be one of the richest people on the planet. You're going to probably be richer than Apple with nearly $3 trillion. You're going to be richer than Elon Musk. You're going to be richer than Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all of these multi-gazillionaires, because, again, finding time is something that is rarely ever done. You got to make that time. But if you have figured out the way to find time, please chime in. Let me know, because I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be very rich. But as always, thank you for making the time to be with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on board and for us to give you all of that knowledge that you know you're going to need as we talk about the five key components of financial literacy. And before we begin, I got to give a shout out to this month is International Women's Month, to all of our beautiful, strong, powerful women across this globe, across this country, across my beautiful city of Yonkers. Congratulations. Thank you for all that you do. The women are ruling the world. They're running the show. Men, step back, sit down. Let the women be in charge. Let them do, because we know they can do much better than us. And time is only showing that they can. Congratulations also to Ketanji Brown Jackson for her phenomenal performance there at getting confirmed, even though those individuals attempted their best to assassinate her character. They could not get over the fact that she is more qualified than the existing court, and she is going to be a true assets to that court. And again, the way that she carried herself with dignity and to be so poised as they were just, again, coming from all angles with these horrific attacks upon her character. And she surpassed every obstacle that they threw at her. So again, congratulations to our newest soon-to-be court appointed individual. And again, to all our beautiful, strong, powerful women out there doing their thing. Keep on doing it, because I, as a Black man, I am pleased to be born of a beautiful Black woman, to have beautiful Black sisters, to have beautiful Black relatives. I'm just super excited to be able to be part of this journey that women are on and now excelling at. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right on into let's get this party started. The 5 keys. This is part 2 of the 5 key components of financial literacy. And the first couple of slides, we're going to breeze through those because we've already touched on those. And we're going to somewhere around the 15th or the 16th slide is where we're going to start off. But I am going to give you a refresher, just real quick over those first couple of slides. All right. So the 5 key components of financial literacy advice for smart, savvy adults, youth, and women of color. Again, smart, savvy adults, youth, and women of color. This is all about how we get you to those next important levels of your financial literacy. And we're not talking about it enough. We're not even addressing it. And it's sad to say that even though I, as a teacher, am in school, living it day to day, our children are hungry for this knowledge. And I can't thank my school enough for giving me the opportunity, not only to do it 5 days out of the week, but they equally have allowed me to have a Sunday financial literacy class that I teach also equally. So again, the community is open. The educational platform is allowing us to provide it. So all we need now is you, that individual who knows that their financial situation might not be as ideal. So let's dive into it and let's get it going. All right. So again, leverage credit recovery is who we are. And does the idea of making major financial decisions or even checking your bank account stress you out? We know that it does. Again, according to a 2016 report by the Federal Reserve, over half of Americans across all income levels are worried about their finances. And it's okay that you're worried. And the pandemic has only made it worse. We know what you're going through. We feel the pain. The customers that I talk to, the clients that I talk to, the passerbyers that I get to spend time with on the bus or in the square or at the malls or wherever I get the opportunity to talk to individuals about their financial situations, they are revealing some horrific things that are not being taken care of. Not being taken care of, not saying that they're not doing their jobs, but there's a lot of these regulatory bodies that have failed us as consumers. And we're going to be holding, I'm telling you right now, we're going to be holding that feet to the fire. CFPB, we're coming to you and we're coming after you because you've allowed for Equifax TransUnion Experian to do some egregious things decade after decade after decade after decade. You guys write it in your reports, but yet you don't do absolutely nothing. Congress, we're coming for you and we're coming after you to, again, you give these individuals nothing but a slight little slap on the wrist telling them don't do it again, give them $1 million, $2 million, $3 million fine, but yet these billion-dollar companies continue to keep habitually abusing us as citizens. So you're either with us or you're not. You're either on our side, by our side, or you're in our way. And currently, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, with the help of the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau, and with the help of Congress, these individuals who actually have these CEOs who come down and have to sit in front of them and literally get grilled about their horrific policies. But yet, still nothing changes. This is going to change this year, and it's going to definitely be a huge improvement over the next 2 years because we are taking it to them. We are going to take it to them. There's nothing else that need be said other than, folks, it's up to you. We're going to do our part. Now we need you to assist us because the more information that we have to be able to give to them, because it seems like courts and all these regulatory bodies, they need a whole bunch of paper. They still going to do a bunch of reviewing and evaluating. If you've been doing this for decades, giving them a pass, there's nothing more to review or evaluate. Your own writings tell us exactly what you have allowed for them to get away with. We're putting a stop to it. All right, so some of the things that we're going to be highlighting, and these are the things that we've already talked about. What is financial literacy? Earn. You got to know how to earn. You got to understand how to read your paycheck. Spend, creating a personal budget. Save, determining your financial goals. What are you really putting that money to the side for? Is it putting it to the side and you're not getting enough return on your investment? Well, you should be thinking about how you're saving that. Borrowing. Borrowing shouldn't cost you 18, 19, 20, 24%. You should be able to, based on your sufficient understanding of how you manage your credit and your money properly, you should be somewhere in that 1, 2, 3 percentile. And if you're not, this is what these shows are there for, to help you get to that 1, 2, 3 percentile. All right, protecting from fraud and also buying insurance. Okay, these are those things that you are definitely going to need. And how to access your financial literacy, also how to improve your financial literacy right now. All right, so those are the 8 areas that we're going to be touching on. And hopefully, again, you got any questions, please do not fail to jot those questions down in the comment section. Would love to answer those as we move through these sections. All right, so what is financial literacy? All right, if you haven't heard the term financial literacy thrown around, it's not about being fluent in accounting lingo, although this can help. According to the United States Treasury Financial Literacy and Education Commission, financial literacy is the ability to use knowledge and skills to manage financial resources effectively over a lifetime of financial well-being. Again, the ability to use knowledge and skills to manage. And if you don't have that knowledge, you don't have the skills, how are you effectively going to manage your lifetime of financial well-being? It's going to be challenging to do that. Lack of financial capability can make it harder to make major financial decisions, like opening the right kind of banking account, planning for retirement, paying off personal debts from student loans and credit cards. Now, there's a huge plus if you have not already followed up with your student loan provider about a forbearance. You have, I believe, the remainder of this week to do so. If you have not spoken with your but your student loan provider, please do so. Please, if you can hear me, if you are responding to what I'm saying, make sure that you're reaching out to your student loan provider, asking them for those forbearances. There's going to be some great news coming down the pipeline about your student loans. I'm telling you now, they knew that they cheated us. They knew that they robbed us. They knew that they did not provide us with the academic understandings when students took out these student loans. They knew that those jobs weren't going to be there. This is a level of fraud that is at a pinnacle for where we're taking the conversation, and we have no other choice. They duped you, and if you're sitting on 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200, $300,000 worth of student loans, you should be alarmed, you should be enraged, and you should be looking towards or to us to help you navigate through the not necessarily complexities or simplicities, but you should be using your knowledge to make sure that if you are not in the position that you went to school for, that those student loans should be forgiven. All right, horrible statistics about the individuals who have student loans and still are not in the career field in which that student loan was taken out. That's going to be changed. The only way for that to be changed is for us, the citizens, to raise the alarm, to require upon Congress to now make it so that we, as the individuals who might be still sitting on that, again, these ridiculous amounts of student loan debts, these ridiculous amounts of not just student loan debt, but the interest rates. You've been played if you have student loans. You have been taken advantage of if you have student loans. This week, this month, next month is going to be the month where we're really going to be talking about financial literacy, because next month is Financial Literacy Month. April is Financial Literacy Month. Every day we're going to be posting. Every Tuesday we're going to be talking about financial literacy, getting you prepared for all the upcoming situations that are going to need your attention when it comes to your finances. And financial literacy is only the first step. That's all it is. It's only the first step. All right. So before you start spending, saving, and investing, you need to know how much money you make. So it's really important to understanding your paycheck. If you do not understand your paycheck, you're not going to know whether or not deductions are being done properly. You're not going to know whether or not your employer, if you have a special deduction that comes out from your employer, you're not going to know these things. If you're one of the 32% of Americans whose income varies from month to month, calculating your income can be a little bit difficult, but it's still important. If you are unsure how to do these things, by making the time today, which I, again, greatly appreciate, let's make some more time if you need to have someone be able to go over and help you understand every line item on your paycheck. It's really important. This is where it starts. Money comes in. It's going to be reduced because of the taxes and all the other items that come out of your paycheck, and they come out automatically. There's nothing you can do to prevent that. If you are an employee, your employer has no other choice. They're going to take that money right on out. And the average tax rate for us who are working, meaning we make our money through wages. We don't make our money like most rich people through assets. So wages are our means. And if we don't understand how those wages are coming in, how those wages are automatically as they come from your employer and those taxes are reduced, you could be paying far more than you should be when it comes to your liabilities and taxes. So understanding that paycheck is critical, super critical, because that's the starting point. All right, spending, creating a personal budget. They have a very specific understanding here, a rule called 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule is budgeting plan that recommends allocating 50% of your net income, your after-tax take-home pay, on basic needs. Basic needs, we are referring to your housing, we're referring to your utilities, we're referring to the basics. Everything that you need to keep the basics of that household functionable. All right? Got to have somewhere to live. Got to have a roof over their head. Got to have some substance in that stomach. Got to have the necessities of communication, whether that be cell phone, whether that be a landline, whether that be a internet. You got to have these. These are basics. Most people may think that, cable, that's not a need. We don't need to have cable. Absolutely. You need to have cable. You need to have some means of being able to receive information that on a normal, regular basis, you probably wouldn't really, if you go back about 20, 30, 40, 50 years, might not have been that important. But if you are in our society today, yes, absolutely. Cable, internet is a necessity. Okay. So that's that 50% that they're referring to. So that leaves obviously another 50%, leaving 30% to spend on non-essentials. And that 30% is what I'm going to really be focusing on, because I want you guys to really start thinking about that 30%. Because that 30% is non-essentials. That's the stuff that you use on the weekends. That's the stuff that you spend on a day-to-day basis for lunch, for coffee, for taking a colleague out to lunch, or taking a friend or a family member out to breakfast or dinner, for all of the non-essentials, for buying a couple of more pair of jeans or buying a couple of more pair of sneakers or shoes. We already know that we spend so much on these non-essentials. I want you to really start looking at that 30%, and I want you to think about cutting that in half. That 30% you're still going to keep available for these non-essentials, but I really want you to start focusing on, if I cut that in half, still going to use 15%, but what are we going to do with that other 15%? That's what we're going to be talking about in the upcoming sessions of our financial literacy. Taking that 30%, cutting it in half, and then putting that 15% to work on a whole new scale. And the 20% for savings. If you can't save 20%, that's okay. Start saving something. Start saving something. If you can't save 20, save 5. If you can't save 5, save 3. Start looking at putting things to the side. Okay, it's just that simple. This budget doesn't work perfectly for everyone, but it is a great rule of thumb for anyone who's new to budgeting. All right. So savings, determining your financial goal. Where do you want your money to go? Is it a car? Is it a home? Is it education? What are you going to be doing? Is it investments? What are you going to be doing with that money? How are you breaking it down so that I got this is important, second priority, third priority, fourth priority? Prioritize your savings. And once you start prioritizing your savings, you're going to see, oh my God, look at where and how this is growing. Now, they're giving you some examples of putting it in little jars, but what if you put it onto a credit card? What if you put it onto or into something that's going to give you more return on your investments. And that's what I really want you to start thinking about. How much return am I getting on my investments? I'm giving someone my hard-earned money, but are they really returning the investment piece, or are they really returning the reward on that investment? And I think it's important to now start asking those who are managing your portfolios to start asking those vital questions. You're giving me 1 and 2 and 3, but yet I see over here double digits. If you're not, and they're not working by the rule 72, you need to be talking to somebody. If you've been in a 401k or a 403b or a Roth IRA or whatever, these variety of different financial components that are out there for investing, if you're not seeing double-digit returns after a 10-year, after a 20-year, after a 30-year with somebody managing your money, you should be a bit concerned. And this is where, again, this conversation must be had on a regular basis. If this conversation is being had on a regular basis, I'm telling you now, you're going to see that growth. You're going to see that return. All right. So everyone knows it's important to save money, but it's hard to spend less than you earn without specific financial goals to work towards. Your financial goals will depend on unique situations, but should include saving for an emergency fund. All right. That's putting money to the side, planning for retirement. This is where experts come in play. I'm not an expert in the realm of retirement or planning for retirement because that's financial advisors. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm someone who's a financial expert in the realm of credit. That's my big call to action. That's my big claim to fame. That's what is going to allow for me to help so many people establish a platform that's going to allow for whatever type of structure that you are attempting to erect. When I say platform, I mean foundation. Every house is going to require a foundation that is stable, or you can continue to keep running around here like the 3 little pigs. Straw house, big bad wolf. Again, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, CFPB, Congress, big business. These are the big bad wolves that are huffing and puffing and blowing that house down. So that's not the house that you want. Straw, not going to work. Okay. Wood might be a little bit more stable, but again, huffing and puffing, these big bad wolves are going to blow that house down. So let's think about some more solid structures that's going to allow for that to happen. And this is where credit comes in play. You got an exceptional credit profile. You're going to be able to erect whatever type of foundation and structure that you want. But if it's a bit shaky, and I talk about this all the time, the state of our credit, the state of our union is fragile. Now, Joe Biden said that the state of our union is strong. I'm going to have to correct him just a little bit, and I'm not in the place or position of correcting anyone, but I'm going to have to correct this one because the state of our union, based on an insurrection, based on a horrible display of, I'm just going to call it what it is, a horrible display of Anglo-Saxons attempting to assassinate the character of a supremely well, if not overqualified candidate for the Supreme Court. All right. So these big bad wolves are out there. And it's our job now to call them out, point them out, and ask them. You're either with us or you're not. And if you're not, it's perfectly fine. Take your ill-gotten gains, your ill-gotten goods, and, go on and find you a new America, because clearly this one isn't working out for you. It's not, because you're not with. You can't be an insurrectionist and still be someone who stands for democracy. Doesn't work. Right? Saving for big purchases. You're looking to buy that next new car. Are you looking to get out of a 1-bedroom or a studio into a 1-bedroom, into a 2, or whatever the circumstances may be? If you're growing that family. These are where these big purchases and having a substantial exceptional credit profile is going to allow for that, and allow for you to obviously have low interest rates. And I want everybody to understand, please stop thinking about, inflation. Inflation is a monetary policy issue. We have zero to do with inflation other than we're feeling it in our pockets. No question about it. We're feeling it. We're feeling it when we buy gas. We're feeling it when we go to grocery stores. We're feeling it when we go buy clothing. We're feeling it when we do our extracurricular activities. We're feeling it in every sense, but this is not anything that we should be alarmed about. Rich people get away with it. Poor people are the ones who are obviously feeling it the worst. And we're hoping that this policies or the policies that they already have in existence will somehow reduce that interest, or excuse me, not the interest, but that inflation. And we'll be starting to, again, reap the benefits of our hard labor. Paying off personal debt. Nothing wrong with carrying debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Both of them could be good depending on how you manage those debts. All right, we don't want to have too much negative debt, no question about it, because anytime you go for a loan product or some type of extension of credit, they're going to be looking at how much debt are you currently carrying, how much income are you literally receiving, and are you overextending yourself. So those four areas are really something key when it comes to your savings. Where are you putting it? What are you doing it for? Is it for emergencies? Is it for retirement? Is it for a big purchase, or is it just to pay off some debts? All right, borrowing, credit cards, loans, and your credit score. This is critical. And I'm going to jump right to this one thing that's probably standing out, which is the APRs. APR, annual percentage rate. This is where credit plays that key role. You don't want to be in that double digit if you're in the 700, 800 range. And if you are, that means there's still some issues that must be challenged with inside your credit profile. All right. It's still some issues inside if you are in that double digit range. If you're in a single digit range, it should be in that lower single digit, 5. If you're in a 6, again, you should be asking yourself, am I going about this in the right manner? And if you're not, maybe you should be looking at, how am I managing my credit? Am I managing it properly? Because clearly, higher credit, lower APR. Lower credit, higher APR. We got to change that. We have to change that. Lower credit, lower APR. That's what, higher credit, lower APR. That's what we're striving for. If you have a low credit score, you're going to more than likely get hit with higher APRs, annual percentage rate. This is not what you want. That's not a good investment. Now, if you're just starting out, of course, you're going to get hit with those higher interest rates, but that's okay. If you're managing it properly, as time goes on, you'll start seeing that reduce as you create favorable conditions with your lending partners. And that's what we're ultimately seeking, favorable conditions with lending partners. But you have to look for lending partners who are willing and wanting to be a lending partner, because you got individuals and institutions out there, they'll talk the big talk, but when it comes to actually delivering, oh, well, then they go back to the hemming and hawing. No, nobody wants to hear that any longer. We know what you've done. We know how you duped us. We know how you have used our resources to enrich yourselves. Like I said before, you're either in our way, or you're either on our side, by our side, or in our way. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. You either want to work with us or you don't. And if you don't, it's perfectly fine. But once we get it established, once we start moving forward, once we start realizing who our qualified parties are going to be, we're going to be looking at you and we're going to do just like you do to us. Sorry, exactly the same. Not that hard to understand, but everybody should be looking at those APRs on those credit cards. You should be looking at those APRs on those student loans. You should be looking at those APRs on any credit product that you are now currently in or seeking to get in as time goes on. Single digits is where you need to be. Returns on your investments. All right. In general, the higher your credit score, the less interest you will be charged. This means that if you've had financial difficulties in the past, you can get stuck in a vicious cycle where all your money goes to paying off interest. I've been there. I've seen it. I'm just saying we should be looking at how we're managing our credit. This is why financial literacy is such an important step. It's just the first step, but it's a very important step. And we'll be talking more about all the other credit cards that you can get that will help you with balancing and maintaining an effective credit understanding. The easiest way to rack up debt, but choosing the right credit card and using it responsibly can actually help you improve your credit score. So that's what's super critical, super important about what we speak on, what we talk about every Tuesday. These educational programs are meant for that particular piece, to educate, to inform, to give you as much knowledge prior to you going out into the world seeking credit products and then getting hit with, oh my God, look at these interest rates. Because these double-digit interest rates, I like to call them default rates, because that's all these banks are waiting for. That's all these financial, I don't want to call them bad names, but these financial habitual abusers, that's what these individuals are hoping for. They're hoping that you default. Once you default, they have a mechanism that protects them. And one of those mechanisms that's protect them is called the bad debt deduction. And as I stated, in February, we're going to dive deeper into that bad debt deduction. So the more you know about that, the easier it's going to be for you to challenge anything that is on your credit report that is a negative in regards to a charge off. All right, just another key word that you should be putting into that lexicon, thinking about, I need to be studying up and waiting for that particular segment to come so we can find out what is this bad debt deduction and how does it help me and how does it allow for fraud. Yes, it allows for financial institutions, third parties. It allows for law firms to commit fraud. That's right. I'm calling it out as I see it. I've been doing this for too long, and now I finally understand, wow, these businesses get away with egregious overreaches, and CFPB, Congress, only allows for this to continuously happen. And the only way for us to start reaping the benefits and the return of our investment is we have to now call these habitual abusers out, hold their feet to the fire, and if necessary, class action lawsuit. There's more of us than they are them. There's only four credit reporting agencies. Four. There's only three majors, and there's another one that just popped its head up, and I don't even know why we got another one. If it's not a public option, it should not be a private solution. That's right. If it's not a public option, it should not be a private solution where these private companies can make oodles of money. Billions of dollars while they pay millions in fines and fees, while they collect subsidies from states and from the government to run their operations, even though they're making billions in profit. Seems like the system is all jacked up. But my favorite hashtag to date is currently built broken system. That's right. Another one of my favorite hashtags is make it make sense, because right now, none of this makes sense. None of it. And when you ask and challenge, what do? You get almost a non-response. That doesn't work for me any longer, and it shouldn't work for any of you. All right, so the perfect credit score is a 850, but perfection is beside the point. Does the perfect credit score really exist? Yes, it does. It does. And all you have to do is manage your credit properly. That's it. Allocate your credit usage to certain specifics about how you spend and how you save and how you put money to the side. If you're managing proper management with anything that you do, you're going to come out on top. A plan for success versus a plan to fail. That's what we're setting up here. A plan for success versus a plan to fail. All right, so what is a high credit score? There are more than one type of credit scores, but the most two popular, FICO, Fair Isaac Corporation, and Advantage Score uses the same range, 300 to 850, but this rubric of credit scoring above 800 is considered excellent. All right, so you have different varieties, different tiers, depending on whom and which agency that your credit reporting company is supplying to you. All right, FICO is the Fair Isaac Corporation. Advantage, depending on Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. Again, when you are inquiring ask your lender to whom do they report. It would be nice if they reported to all three, but this is the flexibility that, again, Congress has allowed for these. Please repeat after me. Habitual abusers of public trust. This is what Congress has given these habitual abusers of public trust. Flexibility to harm us consumers. This is what the CFPB has given to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, habitual abusers of public trust. This is the flexibility that they have given them to use our information to profiteer. They're not here to help us, even though they claim it on their websites. Yes, CFPB, you got beautiful websites that show, oh, we've collected billions of dollars, but you've allowed them to make hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars. Come on, stop. As I said, make it make sense, because you're not making it make sense. Been doing this for too long. I see through you. I don't see you. I saw you before. Now I see through your vicious attacks against us citizens. Now all we're doing is pushing back. We're using the famous quote from Reverend Al. All we need you to do is get up off our necks, because we can handle the rest on our own. We just need you to get up off of our necks. Just that simple. Vantage, we need you to do the same thing. FICO, we need you to do the same thing. I was with FICO. Paid that $49 every month religiously. And what did FICO do for me? Absolutely nothing. Couldn't answer not one question every time I called there. Got another person. And when I posed questions to them, well, again, hemming and hawing, because they don't know nothing. I want to talk to decision makers. I want to talk to people who actually understand credit like I understand credit. Don't put some ignoramus in front of me through the phone where they're not understanding me, because the majority of them, let's see, just like trickle-down economics, just like the fact that we have zero manufacturing in this country because you've sent it all overseas. So when the Americans have to speak to somebody, we're talking to somebody from Bangladesh. We're talking to somebody from China. Again, don't get me wrong, thinking that I don't believe these individuals should have the means to work, but they shouldn't be dealing with us when there's this language barrier. They shouldn't be talking to us about situations that they have zero knowledge about. It's very frustrating, and we know why you've done this, because of that reason that I just said. Frustrating, the words that you like to use. I don't like to use frustrating. I prefer to use disappointing, because that's exactly what Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, FICO, Vantage, all of those third-party garbage credit reporting situations, even Congress, garbage. You've given garbage and you're expecting full reward, which you are getting, but we're getting the shortest of the shortest end of that stick. And it's going to stop. It's going to stop. Like I said, it's going to stop. These are just the beginnings of what we're going to bring to the table to get Congress to pass proper financial understandings against these habitual abusers of public trust. So how do you get a perfect score? Your credit score doesn't have to do what doesn't have anything to do with your income level, savings, or investment. It's simply a measure of how you manage your debt. Just that simple. Have more credit cards. People with perfect credit scores have an average of 6.4 credit cards, almost twice the national average. So if you got perfect credit, and again, these 6.4, they're probably allocating those credit products to certain understandings. And if they're doing that, that's why they have perfect credit. 3.8, again, that's 4 credit products, roughly about 4 credit products. And if they're managing that, the national average, if they're managing that properly, they have perfect credit. Have less credit card debt. Those with perfect credit scores owe an average of $3,025 on their credit cards. National average is $6,445. Nothing wrong. Both of those situations are ideal if you're managing it properly. All right, so here's some factors that determine your credit score. These 5 factors again, they determine your payment history. Am I paying my credit card on time? That's 35% of your overall score. Accounts owed. That means your utilization. Am I bringing down my utilization? Did I max out and did I free up 25%? Did I free up 50%? Did I free up 77%? The more you free up, the more you're going to get in return because, again, return on your investment. If you're only paying the minimum, trust me when I tell you, you're not getting the return on your investment. If you're also equally not viewing, because you're in a contractual relationship, you're in two actually. One of those contractual relationships says right here, again, it doesn't state it here, but I'm going to tell you what this means. This 35% means when you get that bill in the mail, if you pay it on time, that's a contractual relationship that you have with your lender. And your lender equally must make sure that they're reporting it properly. And what's not happening is the reporting piece. You're not getting it reported properly, and that's where we're going to hold their feet. That's where the biggest bang to our buck, that's where the biggest return on our investment is going to come from, by making sure that each one of your credit providers, whether it be a car, whether it be an apartment, and yes, apartment, we need to start requiring of Congress to make sure that that biggest purchase that we are doing on a monthly basis, we know the mortgage is getting put on your credit report. So why isn't your rent getting put on your credit report? Oh, because that would help so many people. Why would we want to help people? Why? Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? So again, those two areas alone, that's 65% of your overall credit score. And if they're not reporting it properly, you're not getting that 65%. 65% in any school that I've been in is a passing grade. And you have some residual items that are going to come from these remaining three areas. 10% from your credit score. Excuse me, your credit mix, my apologies. Your credit mix, 5 different mixes. Again, autos, credit cards, loans, student loans, and a variety of different other financial products that you could have. Store cards that don't have any MasterCard, Visa logo usages. You could be dealing with an alternative lender that you might be borrowing from, and as long as they report, you want to make sure that anybody that you're borrowing money from, that they're reporting. If they're not reporting it, you're in a bad situation. That's why I tell everybody, why are you using cash and debit that is not getting reported? Your cash and debit doesn't get reported to your credit profile. So why are you using credit products that don't give you, again, a return on your investment? Stop thinking using your cash and your debit and that purchase is going to be my win. The purchase is not your win. The purchase is just your thank you for visiting or frequenting your favorite stores. That's all that is. It's just a thank you. But you should be looking at an investment. If I use a product that's going to give me a return on my investment, why aren't I using it? You need to be thinking more strategically about your money. And again, new credit, do not. This does not include soft inquiries. Do not. This is hard inquiries. Make sure that you're not doing more than 5 inquiries per year. 5 inquiries. If you are looking more than that, you are desperate. Okay? Don't be desperate. And finally, average your credit. How long have you had credit? This is another area that people are getting duped on. I don't know why Congress would allow for. If you now get a new credit product, they're reducing your history, meaning your credit years. That doesn't seem like a feasible thing to do. It seems like it's more of a harm to do. Why would you reduce it because somebody decided to get a new car or someone decided to get a new credit card? Why would you reduce their years? That makes no sense at all. But again, now you can see how these, again, habitual abusers of public trust navigate and move through our financial understandings. They're not doing this for our benefit. They're doing it for their own enrichment. And until you know that, until you see it fully, and when you start looking at your credit profile, when you start looking at your credit score, why does your score go up minimally? But if you do something negative, huge. They take a chunk. They take a huge chunk. That's why I'm going to be going after green dot. That's why I'm going to be going after, it's called self. That's why I'm going after, what's the other one? Got another one. Open One Sky. That's why I'm going after every credit product that I have, and I'm going to be letting them know you are a vicious tyrant. You are a abuser. You don't live up to your contractual understanding, and that's why I keep saying class action lawsuit. We're not going for money. We're going to put these habitual abusers out of business. That's what it's about, putting them out of business. They can't operate any longer. Just like Joe Biden said, President Putin can no longer remain in power. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian can no longer be credit reporting agencies. They can't. They have failed on a number of, again, don't take my word for it. Go and read the Congress resolutions on credit, and you'll see after report, 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 that they always highlight the horrible things, the atrocities that they're doing, but yet they still let them operate. I still can't believe Wells Fargo, as many fines and fees that they have been faced with. I still can't believe that Equifax, even though it was hit with a lawsuit of some $800 million, and they're still able to operate. I have to be in fear every time I go to my school that, I got to make sure that I'm walking properly. I got to make sure that I'm walking on eggshells just to make sure that I keep my employment. But yet these habitual abusers of our financial trust and public trust, they get to, with impunity, just create more havoc, create more dysfunction, create more confusion within our finances that we're hoping that they would be there to protect us, but they're not. CFPB is a gross and utter failure. Yes, Elizabeth Warren, I'm calling your creation a disaster, a gross and utter failure. And you should be looking at getting rid of that too, if they can't do the people's work. Just because you've saved the consumers billions of dollars, congratulations. But the trillions of dollars that you've let escape, for what reason? You should be putting businesses out of business instead of giving them more leeway. So here's some tips on how do we get to 700. All right, today's subject, credit scores, 480, no good. 700, yes, almost there. That's that yellow. Red, stop. I got some problems. Yellow, cautiously navigate your way through. And clearly green, you are free to go. All right, just 7 ways to improve your credit. All right, safely pay off credit card debt. There's no getting around it. Just pay it off, pay it off, pay it off frequently, pay it off beforehand. Wait the time frame for it to be reported. If you pay it off and then you use it prior to it being reported, you're going to get hit with a much higher utilization. That's something that you do not know. This is now new to you, so you must make sure that once you pay it off, wait the time frame. They're not telling you this. So you're paying it off and then you go right back out and you use it. Can't do that, folks. You have to wait a certain amount of time, and it's normally about 5 to 7 business days. But if you're not talking with your lender, you're not going to know that. So you'll use your product like they know most of us do. We pay it off, and we probably have to use that product again. But if you're not waiting that 5 to 7 business days, and we already know that they're not reporting it up until some 21 to 28 days later. Again, failures. They're setting you up for failure. Create an emergency fund. Create money that you can put to the side should something happen. Ask for a higher credit limit. That's easy to do as long as you keep your utilization rate below 30. If you have a good relationship with a financial institution and you're asking them for a higher limit and they're looking at you like, again, my favorite one is him and Han. Well, I got to talk to this and that one's got to talk to that and this one's got to do this and so forth and so on. It's not going to work. You need to find a willing partner, someone who understands, you know what, this has been very challenging on you for the last 2 years, 2.5 years. You might got a little bit of stimulus here, a little bit of stimulus there, but still your overall wages has not increased. Yeah, we might have went from $11 to now $15, but the federal minimum wage is still $7.25. So that $15, again, some experts, if I'm not mistaken, Robert Reich, my apologies if I pronounce that last name incorrectly. But again, an economist who I've been following forever. Jared Bernstein, an economist who I've been following forever. Pickney, another economist who wrote a fantastic book I still am reading today. That's helping me understand why we're in these horrible predicaments to begin with. So making sure, again, if you need a higher credit limit, you got to ask for it. Ask for squeaky wheel gets the grease. Turning on autopay. That one you got to be really careful with because there's a lot of companies out there. You might turn it on. They won't turn it off. Okay? You might turn it on, but they won't turn it off. Very important for you to manage your credit properly. You don't even really need autopay, but if you're someone who kind of tends to forget, you're on vacation, you're traveling, whatever the situations may be, it's good to set it up, but you still got to monitor it. Ask your landlord, utility companies to report your payment. Utilities will not. Why? Again, still harming you. Why isn't AT&T, Verizon, these cell phone companies, why don't your utilities, meaning your electric, your gas, why don't they report? Oh, it would help you. Wow. Hey, Congress, what's wrong? What's wrong with making sure that they help us? But if you miss that bill, if you let that go into 2 and 3 and 4 months, they're going to throw that onto your credit report and whammo, you're going to get hit with 120 something points in a negative. And as I told you already, you're looking at your credit reports. I want you to tell me how much is your credit report, or how much is your credit score going up? Don't think just because you see Boost and the Purple Cow and John Cena. Don't think because you see Samuel L. Jackson or what's that other guy? Kevin Hart. Don't think that what they're saying is all gold and fine and dandy. No, that's garbage. If they can give you 2%, 5%, 10%, well, you can give me 50%. You can give me 80%. That's a deal. But you're giving me 2% on a 24% interest item. Keep it. Keep the garbage. Get rid of the gimmicks. Focus on helping and taking care of us. If you can't do that, you are a hindrance. And I'm talking to those companies directly. We know what you're doing. As I told you before, we see through you. We understand it. We get it. Now, those of us who can help others are now informing, educating, and making sure that we're all on the same page. Because when we come for you, we're not coming for you just to let you get off with another fine or a fee. We're coming to put you out of business. Bottom line, you've never helped us. You've never been there for us. So why do we need you? Landlords, this is a win-win for you. You should be wanting your tenants getting their credit or their monthly items put onto their credit report. That's a win for you. Utility companies, that's a win for you. You're going to get people who are going to pay on a regular basis. What, you haven't thought about that yet? Yes, you have. You just don't want to. So we're going to force you through legislation. We're going to make it possible. We're going to make it feasible. And if you don't want to do it, guess what? You probably won't be a landlord. You probably won't be a utility company. Oh, don't think you're too big. Don't think you're too large. Yes, too big to fail. Well, we're going to show you that you're not. We keep talking about no one is above the laws. You egregious habitual abusers are creating and committing fraud. So you're not above the law, and we're going to show you exactly through bad debt deduction how much of a fraudulent company, how much your best practices are fraud. And we're going to expose you. Just that simple. Trust me, not hostile, not angry, not upset, disappointed. Huge different adjectives. You like to describe us as if we're the deadbeats, and we're going to make sure that we understand who the true deadbeat is. Not the consumer. The consumer wants to meet and exceed our expectations, our contractual relationships. You're the ones who don't want us to be on that same level, to have a mutual understanding of how we're going to deal with our finances. You want to keep us in a hole. And we're going to keep digging and covering up and making sure that we're filling in that hole no matter how much you keep throwing at us. As I said, You're either on my side, by my side, or in my way. And then checking your credit report on a regular basis. If you're not monitoring it, who's monitoring it for you? We monitor everything. God knows. If we lost this thing, oh my God, we would freak out. If you watched, what was that movie that I just watched? Not just watch, I watch it pretty much all the time. Jumanji. And the girls, well, obviously it wasn't the girl, it was the girl's main character, but Black. Oh my goodness, what is his first name? I can't remember his first name right now, but his last name is Black. And his character, one of the scenes was, "Where's my phone?" And I'm sure you are probably someone who can relate to that. Where's my phone? Oh, my battery's low. In the car when you're driving, oh my God, check the gas level, check the oil level. We're checking constantly, but the one thing that could really save us from so much headache, and we're not even checking, which is our credit report. Really important, really vital, so critical that we move through these understandings and that you can walk away with a much, much better, clearer understanding of how you got to. You have to do these things. You have to do these things. All right, so protect against fraud. That's what's going on out there today. That's what's happening. These habitual abusers of our financial protection products, the products that they should be protecting us, they're not doing it. They're committing fraud, bad debt deduction. I'm going to keep throwing that one out there. Want you guys to look it up. It is part of the IRS code, bad debt deduction. Making sure that you're changing your passwords and your PINs, making sure that you are putting those physical cards in a safe place, shredding the ones that you definitely are not using any longer. It's important to maintain good credit, but perfect credit doesn't need to be something that you're literally not necessarily working towards, but if you're working towards getting there, keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's going to come eventually. All right, so protect again against fraud. It's really important. Once you've set yourself up with a solid budget and investment strategy, it's important to protect the money that you've made. All right, and how to access your financial literacy. It's the easiest way to access your financial literacy is to ask someone who some questions about your personal finances. Do you know how to create a personal budget? Because if you don't, it's okay. Get with us. Do you have an emergency fund that covers at least 3 months of your basic living expenses? If not, get with us. Do you have a plan for retirement? If not, get with somebody who can help you. If you have debt, do you have a plan to pay it off? Do you have a credit score? And do you know how to improve it? Okay, these are just normal understandings that we need you as you move through your financial literacy new re-education. These are those things that you need to know. It's game time, folks. It's game time. You want to be in the game. You don't want to be sitting on the bench. And if you're sitting on the bench, I hope you're prepared, because at any time you're going to be called in. If you're looking for that credit product, you're going to be called into the game. If you're looking to buy that new car, you're going to be called into the game. So it's really important to start with these fundamentals now. Financial Literacy Month is next month. And we're going to be looking forward to giving you, again, these same building block foundations, understandings that's going to allow for you to excel beyond your wildest imagination. And as I keep telling over and over and over and over, this is not just for you. This is for the ones that are in the background. Your family, friends, your siblings, your brothers and sisters, your kids. All right, so make financial plans for retirement. Make a plan to get out of debt, determine your credit score, and determine your credit score and learn how to improve it. All right. So as always, folks, it is a pleasure. We thank you so much. Again, my name is Tyrone Glover, and I'm the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. Here's how you can get in touch with us. Let's hear from you. There's the mailing address, P.O. Box 101, Yonkers, New York, 10701. I can be reached, text at 805-428-9424. My emails are leverageCreditRecovery@gmail.com, and my brand new one, creditcoach411@gmail.com. We are also equally on the variety of different social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Instagram. Looking forward to seeing you at some point there. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. These are the most phenomenal days. As I always tell you, I love doing Tuesdays. I love being able to see my students every single day. And this is just the cherry on top of that ice cream sundae. I love doing this because it allows for me to educate our public. It allows for me to get prepared for this financial literacy month that's coming up. It allows for me to make sure that our consumers, our constituents, the individuals within this country have the footing to deal with any of these habitual abusers. I want to thank you everyone for joining me. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. And as always, be safe, America.